In this video, we're going to be talking about how to steal people information across the network or even wirelessly without them even knowing about it. In particular, I'm going to be showing you what are keyloggers and how dangerous they are. If you have never seen this before, it's about to scare the hell out of you. Because people can be watching your keystrokes right now, stealing all your data, you don't even know about it. By the time I'm done, I'm 100% sure all of you are about to check the back of your computer. You'll see what I mean. Let's get started. So what is a keylogger? A keylogger comes in two types. You have a software and a hardware keyloggers. Now, keyloggers are technically not illegal. Keyloggers are used to monitor what employees are typing. So they're basically software or hardware that's installed onto people's computer, and basically anything you type, it'll track. So hackers will install this, or I should say malicious folks will install this to monitor you in order to capture your passwords, capture documents or messages you're typing, and so on. Basically anything that is typed on a keyboard is basically going to be captured. Of course, you know all messages, all passwords, all logins, and so on. So how are we going to defeat this, and how are we going to stop this? Well, that I'm going to show you at the end of the video, so stay for that. Let's see how it works though. So the first one up is a software keylogger. A software keylogger is basically a piece of software you install on a computer and just keeps track of all the keystroke. I'm going to show you one, an older one that I have set up here that was quick and easy to set up to do this video. And then I'll show you a more complex one that just doesn't only does keystrokes, but it actually captures pictures too. Let's take a look here. So here I have two Windows machines. I have two Windows 7. These are virtual machines, okay? So I have this gray one. So this gray Windows 7, the one with the gray background, is basically running a server. This one is going to be looking at the keystroke of the blue Windows 7 here at the back. And basically, it's a software called Thief. It's a really old software, but it still works here on Windows 7. And I'm going to turn on the keylogger here so you can actually see what it does. So we're going to go to Spy, and I'm going to say keylogger, and then I'm going to say Start. So this thing right now is start logging all the keys of this blue machine. So let's push this aside here. Let's bring this we'll push this aside so you can see it, and then we'll bring this blue one up. So watch this, I'm using this blue virtual machine. You'll notice it's capturing all the keystrokes. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to, let's say they want to type a message. Maybe they had Word, they were typing a message. I am typing a hidden message that I hope no one can see. So they think. Okay, so you notice that on this other machine, on this gray one, we can actually see I'm typing a hidden. Notice how even when I mistakenly type something and I press the backspace, it's every single key. It's telling me that I mistakenly pressed backspace, I erase the H, and then I put it back. I erase the N, the EN, then I press the space there, then I type the word message, and it's actually showing what I'm typing. You see, even if the user, let's go back to this blue machine here, maybe they want to log into their Gmail. So maybe they went to their gmail.com here, and they went to login, and the email they had, let's say the account was Andy, I don't know, I'm making this up, Andy1234 gmail.com. So that was his email. And then it's like Google is like, okay, what's your password? His password was password123. And all right, so you notice how the keylogger was able to grab the username and the password from this machine on this end. Dangerous stuff, as you can see. Now, this is a really old piece of software, and there's a newer one, and I'll show you guys that now. So let's get rid of these virtual machines here. We don't need these here. I'm going to be deleting those. Those are infected with malware. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to... Let's take a look at a good one. There's a good one called Actual TUAL Spy. Now, this thing has been renamed to Actual Keylogger. This was a very famous keylogger from a long time ago that they have updated. This particular one is newer. This one, you install it on somebody's computer, not only does it keep track of all their keystrokes, but what it does is that it actually takes screenshots of what they're doing. So it sets up and periodically takes screenshots of what they're doing, tracking all social media activities and so on. So this one is a much more powerful software than that other one that I was using. So if somebody installs this on your computer without your knowledge, they're basically spying on you. They'll know every website you go to, and they'll even see the screen that you were looking at. So if you were looking at something you weren't supposed to be looking at, they'll see that. So this is a pretty dangerous piece of software. So if you have someone to spy on, maybe a spouse, not a spouse, maybe a child that you don't trust, or if you have employees, now this thing is legal, right? These things are not really illegal. Here's why: because organizations could install this on your computer as long as they have permission from you. You know that big employee manual that you signed that you never read? You probably signed that they could do this to you and you don't even know about it. So this is a software keylogger. The other one I want to show you in this video is something called a hardware keylogger. Now this was really scared a lot of people. A hardware keylogger. Here's a site called Keylog. And so they sell these little devices that you take and you plug in to people's computer. And basically you plug their keyboard into it and it steals the data. Now you're probably thinking, well, how does that work? Well, in this video, I have this exact same one right here. And in this video, I'm going to show you how this works and how we're going to steal some data. So if you're wondering how big this thing is, well, let's find out. Here I have a keyboard. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this little itty bitty keylogger to steal data off of somebody's computer in this video. So this should be a lot of fun, right? Well, if you ever wanted to steal someone's password for whatever reason, let's not say steal, let's say monitor someone's password, I think would be a better word. This is the way to do it. You buy one of this, you install it on somebody's computer, you leave it, and you could connect to this wirelessly, which you're about to see. We're going to connect to this thing wirelessly and we're going to take the files off of it. So ideally, you buy this little thing, you go to the person where you want to steal the computer, you unplug their keyboard from the back of it. Hopefully it's a desktop and not a laptop. You unplug the keyboard, you plug the keyboard into it just like this here. So we're going to take the USB keyboard and we're just going to plug it directly in. So it has a little USB port there, like a little USB extension. And that's basically it. Then we're going to take this and we're going to install it on their desktop. Then we're going to go away and everything they're typing we'll be able to monitor. The good thing, you can even do this from your phone. You can actually connect to this thing. This is an access point from your phone. So I thought this was a pretty little cool device for you guys to check out. So I'm going to plug this into my laptop here and we're going to be monitoring the laptop. Note the word monitor it, not stealing, not spying. Monitor it. That's what it's called, okay? So, all right. So we plugged into the laptop. We have the little keylogger that's plugged in. I have the keyboard here and the keyboard works, okay? Just a normal keyboard. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to log in here as Bob. So Bob wants to log in and we're going to type Bob's password, which is green pound 123. I'm telling it to you because we'll see it in a minute anyhow. So that's Bob's password. Let's press enter. So Bob has logged in. Now don't keep in mind, this thing is logging all his keystrokes. Okay, so what's going to happen here? Bob wants to type a message in Word. Bob opens up Word with his mouse. He opens it up, so hopefully you guys can see that. And Bob is going to type, "This is my hidden message," right? So he's just typed that. Maybe he types other messages. He's done typing. So the keylogger, right, is keeping all of this stuff. All right, so he doesn't want to save that. Maybe Bob wants to go to Amazon, right? Bob wants to log into Amazon. So Bob goes, he types Amazon.com, he brings that up. And then Bob goes to sign in. And here is the email, right? So Bob, it's Bob123@gmail is Bob's actual email. Hopefully if there is Bob123. No offense to you, Bob. It's something I'm making up. Enter that. It says the email address and mobile associated with the account. Enter a account. So come on. All right, now Bob's password comes up. So Bob, let's say Bob doesn't have a real, Bob's password is password 4567. All right, so that's Bob's password. All right, it doesn't log in because it's not real. Okay, so we now have to see how to get the data off the stick, right? Because we know we want to capture Bob's Windows password. We want to capture his message. We want to capture whatever he typed on the browser here, right? So this thing is still plugged in here and it still has power, okay? It still has power in it. So what I'm going to do, let's go back to my desktop here. So let's go take a look at my desktop. So my desktop has a wireless card already installed in it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and I'm going to connect. So this thing, this little device here has this little, keylogger has an access point on it. So I'm going to click here. And here it is. This is the actual device. Now you can rename this and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to say connect. Now by default, it doesn't have any security in it. So I didn't change any of the default settings. I literally took this thing out the box a few minutes ago before making this video. In fact, here's the manual sitting on my desk. Okay, so this thing is going to take a couple of seconds to connect. And when it does, now it's trying to connect and it's thinking it's going to have internet, but it really doesn't have any internet on it because it's not an access point that connects to the internet. It's just an access point for the computer. All right, so did it connect? Yeah, there it is. So it's connected. So we have to now go to it. So it has a static IP on it. So we're going to go to the IP address on it, 4.1. This is the IP on that little access point there. So here it is. This is that memory stick. So you notice green 123, that was Bob's password. This is the message he typed in. Notice he went to Amazon. I didn't finish typing it out because Amazon had popped up. Here is his email and here is his password that we captured remotely. So as Bob is typing, right? So let's say Bob goes back and he's going to type a message, right? So Bob goes back in and he types a message. Let's see, he just types all A's. All right, so he just typed a whole bunch of A's for whatever reason. The keystroke, because the keylogger has just captured all the A's that I just typed in there. Right now, the keylogger doesn't have any security settings. We could go and secure it. We could go to settings. We could change the name on it, give it an obscure name that no one knows about. Here you have different encryption you can use on it. I'm not going to go over wireless encryption in this video. We'll talk about that in another video. But you can secure it. And if you don't want anybody to see, you can just erase the log if needed. Okay, let's take that off of the laptop there because this is my personal laptop and I don't need people keylogging it. All right, so keyloggers. Did that scare the hell out of you? Here's what you guys should do right now. Why don't you check the back of your machine and see if somebody's installed one of these little devices that cost $30 and is stealing all your data right now. And if you ever wanted to steal data from someone, now you know how. Okay, obviously this is not done for you to hack. This is done for you to learn how to test, right? These are pen testing videos. I know I have the hacker guy sitting on the wall there, but, or I should say mouse. Okay, so how do we protect against these things is the question. So number one, the software keyloggers. Software keyloggers are generally going to be considered some form of malware. If it's installed without your permission, like that one there thief, if you have an antivirus on your computer that's up to date and you have Windows up to date and you're using the most latest up to date version of Windows, it'll probably delete it. Another thing is a lot of these software keyloggers that are going to be monitored remotely needs to have a port open. So you want to make sure you have a firewall like Windows Firewall or any other third-party firewall to make sure that it locks up all the ports on your computer. For me to even make that software firewall work, I had to shut the for me to make the keylogger work, I actually had to shut the firewall off on those Windows 7 to make it work. So now you got to keep in mind that there is legal versions of these software that employers could install on your computer and could be monitoring you. You just don't know about it because it hides its services. It hides the process from being run. Okay, when it comes to hardware keyloggers, these are much more difficult to detect. The problem with these here is that no one really knows about them. How many of you guys, if you saw this connected to the back of your own computer, how many of you guys would have no idea? Because if you look at it, when it goes into the actual keyboard, most of you may think this is normal. It looks like a little memory stick. Who knows, right? You don't know what this is. So the problem with this is people don't know about this, and by watching this video now there's a variety of different versions. There's ones that are a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, and so on. The best thing to do is physical inspection of your keyboard. Use on-screen keyboards if you're typing in confidential data, if you feel that you may be keylogged. You also want to make sure that you train users to detect these type of things. All right, so if you're a security administrator, you're the security personnel, you want to train users to visually inspect, especially CEOs. Can you imagine you have a company where a CEO, the cleaning person comes in, is malicious, puts this on a CEO machine, and is stealing all the data remotely? Like how this one has an access point, a security administrator, we could scan the networks to see if there's access points that are close by, and then try to connect to them and see what happens. Okay, that's the lesson there on keyloggers. Hopefully I scared the hell out of you. Or hopefully not. Hopefully you're not too scared now, because now you know how to fight them off. And now if you ever wanted to spy on someone, now you know how.